motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us a bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley, and we're going to talk soccer and tennis over the course of the next half an hour or so. Nigel, how are you? First of all, give us your play that's just about to get underway.
I'm good, Dan. Got me into the Caribbean vibe there with the old music. I'm down in Miami, not far from the Caribbean, and I just got into that Caribbean vibe there. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do through the international football and the tennis over here in Miami. I'm going to head to the courts after this show, but there's one match I want to give you straight away. It's one of my bets for today, so I want to get it in nice and early. It's in the first match on play over at the Hard Rock Stadium in the Miami Open. It's in the men's singles. And I want to go with Kekmanovic, Mimo Kekmanovic at plus 120 to beat Casper Ruud here. The conditions here this morning in Miami are very, very different from what we saw yesterday. The temperature has dropped by probably about 15 degrees, actually. It was about 86 degrees yesterday afternoon. It's into the mid-60s, high 70s, which is a considerable drop, really. And it's extremely windy today. Very, very windy. Now, that won't make much of a difference on the main show court because you're enclosed, but on the outside courts, the grandstand court over at the Hard Rock Stadium, it makes a big, big difference here. And I think that becomes a little bit of a leveler for all the players today. So the wind is strong. Kekmanovic and Ruud have played 6 times before, 3 wins apiece. Ruud has only ever beaten Kekmanovic on a clay court. He's never beat him on a hard court. And despite the conditions being a bit windy and a bit the temperatures being lower today, this is still a very, very quick court. So that will suit Kekmanovic, who's had a good year on hard courts. He's 13-6 in 2025. Casper Ruud is a player that just doesn't put it in the tournaments where he doesn't think he's got a chance of winning. He's very good in the 250s on clay, but when he comes to these kind of events and the conditions aren't his, I think he'd rather be on South Beach rather than be playing tennis here. Last week he played against Giron over in Indian Wells, and you would expect Casper Ruud to have a good tournament last week in the conditions which will be a lot slower and would have suited him over in Indian Wells. This is quicker. It's not going to suit him. He's had a very average South American clay court swing. He ended last season in pretty bad form. He's hanging on to a top 10 ranking really by default because he wins those 250s. He's not in the top 10 at the moment in his current form. And I think Kekmanovic here at plus 120 with Bet Rivers. Head across now to the website. Don't leave us. Don't go straight away. Get your phone. Leave this on.
Open up another window. Open
up another window. Get on the app and you want to bet plus 120. Kekmanovic to beat Casper Ruud. Just about to start. And I'll give you some updates in play as we go along through the day. So plus 120, Kekmanovic is my first bet of the day to beat Casper Ruud.
Yeah, just about to get underway. Don't think they've started just yet. Just looking at the flash score here, and obviously the betting rivers in play action as well. But they will be getting underway in the next few minutes, I would imagine here. Maybe just knocking up plus 118. You've moved the market already, Nigel. Very good day to one and all. We are going to talk ATP Tour with Nigel, and indeed WTA action in Miami. We're going to talk soccer as well. Got World Cup qualifiers, Nations League, of course, yesterday. World Cup qualifiers both in Europe. England are in action and in South America. And we'll just give you all the latest betting news when it comes to March Madness as well. Across the Bet Rivers network, there's lots of different podcasts and shows going on regarding some of the college action, but we like to cross-promote, and we'll let you know where the money's going, and indeed 1 or 2 house specials in just a second. But first of all, Nigel, obviously you're out in Miami at the moment, and you were suggesting to me that your internet isn't particularly good, but that's not the biggest problem that you might encounter, because I hate to tell you this, but Heathrow in London is closed down at the moment because of a nearby fire, and there's doubts, when it's going to open up. You could be stranded in Miami, Nigel. That's what I'm telling you.
There's a lot of worse places to be stranded. I can assure you that, Dan. So I'm not really. When I saw that news, obviously everyone was safe, so I was quite happy about that. But my first reaction was get in. I could have an extra 2 days out here, which would be perfect. I wasn't really too bothered about that. I think the things about my internet, just how I'm staying in the Fontainebleau Hotel in South Beach, Miami. It's a fantastic resort, massively overpriced. I mean, everything is ridiculously overpriced. But the internet is the worst internet that I've ever had. And I mean, some of the dives that Sean Calvert's been to across the globe have got better internet than this. So Fontainebleau internet is shocking. So I'm running this off my phone. So apologies if it gets buffering or we lose a little bit. I've tried to run it a couple of times. It's sort of hit and miss, but at the moment it's absolutely terrible. With regards to this terrible thing that's going on at Heathrow, that pulled the pay, I feel sorry for the people who are on holiday, going on holiday, who've missed their holiday or got problems with holidays. But if you're out in holiday in a nice sunshine place and you know,
a few extra days.
You're having a right result. You don't have to go back to work. It's brilliant. I suggested to my missus, I said to her, listen, get a flight to Miami from Gatwick, Manchester, Birmingham, whatever. And what we'll do is we'll get a cruise back. So watch your space. Hopefully, we might be on the Royal Caribbean, heading back to Southampton on the cruise. So hopefully, this goes on a few more days, and I've got no other option but to book up a cruise to get back from Miami to Southampton.
It's just any excuse, Nigel, isn't it? Really, ladies and gentlemen, it's just any excuse to have a few more days out in the sun. That's all.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the temperature's actually dropped today. It's probably warmer in England than what it is.
Oh, it's lovely today. Don't worry about that. It's lovely. You know,
yesterday was probably the kind of temperature you got in.
It's sweater weather rather than coat weather. Welcome in one and all. Adam has come on with some plays very early. Nigel's going to talk tennis for us shortly. He reckons Stearns to beat Mertens at 6-5 and Noskova to beat Kessler at 8-11. Philip says hi, Dan and Nigel. Which one?
I've got a different
really?
Opinion.
Difference of opinion there, Adam. Stand by for that one. Vidovan says, hi, Dan and Nigel. Ming says, good day to you both. Josh says, Nigel, what's up, buddy? Beautiful day for some tennis here in Miami. Duncan afternoon.
I'm meeting Josh after this.
Are you meeting Josh later? Wonderful.
I'm meeting Josh straight after this. And Josh, when you get there, you know what you got to do. You've got to get those 2 Stellas ready for me as soon as I arrive. I've already told you what to do, so make sure you do that.
Paul's with us. Hey, Paul, nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. Dean says, hi, lads. Tough card in Miami. Corda will win easily, though. Even money for a 2-0 win. Mustafa says, Adam says, Corda not in great form. And then we've got Olkato Aiden says, hello. Shane says, check out CV, looking like a proper hardcore player with a baseball hat. Sending my regards, says Shane.
Well, yeah, Shane, you know, the last time I went to Miami, I told them I was Alexandre Davidovich Fekina's coach. So I've got to look, and they asked me a question in Spanish. So I went, yeah, and then I've got to look like Alessandro Davidovich Fekina's coach in case the security guard sees me again and recognises me.
Luke says Poland -2. It's a lot. We're going to talk Poland. You could well be right there, Luke. Joe says Cyprus, England, Poland. -1.5 is a solid parlay. Adam says, yeah, we love a difference of opinion. Nish Kyrgios can force a 3-setter, also taking over 22.5 games. We're going to talk tennis shortly. Just want to let everyone know, if you've not signed up for the newsletter, please do so. bettingweeklystudios.com. Not just a Monday newsletter, but we get a newsletter running into the weekend. Came out a little bit early this week, Nigel, but an awful lot on it. We've sort of diversified with what's on the newsletter for this weekend, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a huge amount of numbers of people subscribing to the newsletter, and hopefully that continue. If you haven't done it, I mean, it's a really, really good bit of kit, actually. I'm really happy with what we've done. Really proud of all the team, the content they've done. Everyone's got involved. Even Simon Holden's tried to put a moody bet through. Trying to get a handicap of -1 when it should have been -2. But eagle-eyed Seeley spotted that straight away, Mr. Holden. Got a yellow card warning. But I mean, it's good. It's a good collaboration between everybody. Great new stuff as well. New talent as well with Paul, the editor, who's got a really, really good idea of MMA. So he's decided to do some tips on there. And I don't think you'll get anything better from any other sportsbook. I mean, across the pond or, you know, any part of the world, what you're getting here is a 29-page guide to the weekend, essentially, on all different sports. Really, really proud. And I would like to know what the people think, the viewers think of it. Give us your comments in if you're enjoying it, you know, and some of the tips. And it's really, really good. And the feedback in the first 2 weeks has been excellent. So if you haven't subscribed, just go to bettingweeklystudios.com, put your email in. It's free, and you'll get it on every Monday, and you'll get it on also every Friday as well. But this was a day earlier this week because of the international football starting early.
Lewis talking about the tennis, talking about over 10.5 in the Halis Alasim game. We'll get to that shortly. Thanks for the comment, Lewis. Obviously, we mentioned the college action in the States. Just to let you know where some of the money's been going with our friends from Bet Rivers. An awful lot of cash being bet on the March Madness. Some winners from the last 24 hours, a $25,000 play on San Diego plus 9.5 on the spread at even money against Michigan. Also a $20,000 play on Montana plus 16.5 against Wisconsin, which was a loser. A $19,000 play on Auburn minus 29, which was also a loser. So the Bet Rivers traders getting it right and getting the money. Also Crichton minus 3 against Louisville. That was a winner. $15,000 play on the spread there as well. Notable streams for you today. Obviously all the tennis action. Nigel will be there in person, but if you want to watch it on the Bet Rivers app or the Bet Rivers website, you can do. All of the ATP and WTA Tour action from the Florida venue will be streamed live. There's also La Liga 2, soccer a little later, and 9 African World Cup qualifying matches. I think some of them may well just be underway now, but of course there is betting in play, and just 1 or 2 March Madness specials for you if you are following the basketball before we get into some England-Albania chat with Nigel. Notable Friday specials, lots of specials. These are the ones that we've pulled out for you. Any team to make a buzzer beater in Friday's action, plus 650. Duke, Alabama, and Iowa State all to score at least 40 first half points at plus 260. Duke or Florida to score the most points on a Friday is plus 240. Both teams to score at least 38 first half points in the North Carolina Ole Miss clash at plus 215. Any 2 Southeastern Conference schools, that's Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt to win at plus 180. And this is one that I really like. If I was a basketball fan, I'd certainly go for this one. Every team to score at least 50 points on the Friday slate. 16 games on make it. That is.
What do you know about college basketball?
Nothing. I'm saying if I listen with your ears, Nigel. Listen with your ears. I'm saying I'm saying if I was a basketball player, okay. It's the sort of thing where you go like, over half a goal, over 1.5 goals in a load of matches.
Oh, a fun bet.
A fun bet. Yeah. It's a fun bet. I
thought you were giving college basketball advice there.
I would never dare. I would never dare. Let's talk England, Albania, shall we? Here, look, prices like this, and we've got some other qualifiers here. We'll talk Poland, Lithuania in just a second. But as far as myself and Nigel are concerned, England always interesting to see what they're going to do. Not necessarily with the World Cup qualifiers because they are going to qualify, but in terms of what Thomas Tuchel is going to do, who he's going to play. They're minus 910 here, Nigel, to beat Albania, who are 22-1, plus 750 the tie. Over and under there, you can see over 2.5 is minus 190, under 2.5 is plus 143. The Asian goal line is 3. What are we thinking, Nigel? You go to all these England tournaments, massive England fan, Thomas Tuchel in charge. I thought the interview that he gave, calling out Gareth Southgate's style just the other day was interesting. It's as if he knows what the public want. And for, supporters who thought, is this going to be the sort of same old, I'm starting to get a little bit excited because he's saying all the right things, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really seen the interview because I've been over here and I haven't.
He's basically suggesting that Gareth Southgate was too cautious. Well, they played with a handbrake on. They didn't go for it. The players looked nervous. There wasn't enough conversation on the pitch. There weren't enough leaders out there. He wants them to absolutely fly out of the boxes and play attacking football and not be as conservative as Gareth Southgate has been, even though it's got him success to a certain extent. That was his MO with the interview.
The one thing I can say about Thomas Tuchel is that if you're 1-0 down in a World Cup semi-final or a World Cup final, you'd rather him on the bench than Gareth Southgate. I've always called Gareth Southgate. Southgate's a fantastic PR man. He's been brilliant for English football. He's brilliant as a father figure to the young talent coming through. But technically and tactically, he was left wanting in big matches for England football clubs. Now we've got a guy who can shake it up. He can change the system. When he was manager at Chelsea, he bored the place down. In the final against Man City, it was a tactical genius where he stopped Pep's side playing and won the smashing and grabbing that match. Chelsea weren't very exciting getting to that final, but then he went to Bayern Munich and they played a very different style of football and he was quite entertaining. But obviously the difference between that is that I would say that the Premier League is the Premier League and the Champions League with an English side is quite difficult to do. You can't be like that every single match. So tactically, he can play whatever way he wants to play in any given game. I've been to so many England home matches, and literally they are bore fests at the international level before they get to the major tournaments. The qualifiers have been pretty boring. I don't think the squad that he's announced has suddenly got everyone exciting. He's gone to Jordan Henderson. He's gone to Marcus Rashford. These are guys that are coming to the end of their career, and people wanted to see young blood come in. And that's probably why he went on the defense straight away and called out Gareth Southgate, because people were to sort of divert the tensions of the questions from his squad announcement. So I think it's a great appointment for English football. I don't care if he doesn't sing the national anthem. I don't care what he does, as long as he can bring England to win a major tournament in my lifetime. I've been to 2 major finals, and I've been to a semi-final in Russia as well, and I've never seen England go that one step to win it. This is the best guy on the market who can do that. Whether he's going to turn it on straight away at home against Albania, which is a huge match for the Albanians. I went to the England game where the Greeks come to England, and there was more Greek fans there. It was like being in a home game at Athens rather than at Wembley. The Wembley match, the atmosphere is really low-key. A lot of families going there. A lot of guys with their kids, the young guys taking their kids for the first time, 3, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. The away end, the Albanian end, will be absolutely crazy here because they'll want to win. So the atmosphere won't be like a Euro finals or a semi-finals. Once we sing the national anthem, you can hear a pin drop. But going through statistically on some of these matches, I went back through all of the last from Gareth Southgate to Bobby Robson, England's managers in charge of the national side. There's only been one manager in those 11 matches that has ever lost his opening game as an England manager, and that was Bobby Robson. He lost against Denmark. All the others have won. Every single one of them has won. There has been 10 matches in the last 10 matches of England's games. 9 of them have cashed under 3.5 goals, which the line is today. 8 of them would have cashed on 3 with a push. There was only one match all 9 would have cashed with 3 as a push as well. The only one that went over was Steve McLaren was in charge of England when they won 4-0 against Greece in his first match. In all of England's home matches, they've won every single one of them by 1-0. Kevin Keegan was in charge where England won 3-1 against Poland. So England to 0 is the way this game is going to go. Under Gareth Southgate, we played Malta at home, won 2-0. Capello, we played Switzerland at home, we won 2-0. McLaren, we beat Greece 4-0. Under Sven, we beat Spain 3-0. Under Hoddle, we beat Czech Republic 2-0. Venables 1-0. Taylor 1-0. England win to 0 in the opening games for the managers. So that price is -$2. So that's not going to make you very rich, but it does enhance the price from -1,000. Under 3.5 goals here is -186. That's got to be in the equation. But I'm going to just, I'm not going to have a bet tonight, but if I was advising anyone to have a bet, those prices look short. Obviously, to win to 0, Bet Rivers is taking no chances. But 2-0, 3-0 England coupled up is 4-10, 2-0, plus 4-40, 3-0. That's the kind of match I'll see. I could see England going 1-0, 2-0 up with 25 minutes to go, bringing everybody on, giving a run out, letting loads of people come out, and just everyone be heading for the exit doors to get out before the stampede to the train station, and it will just fizzle out to a non-event. The other thing I noticed in the trend in England matches, which is obviously what you would expect, is that players who've scored are players who are starting their international career in the first matches for those managers. So England against Malta, Daniel Sturridge scored in one of his first starts for England. Under Allardyce, it was Lallana who scored, and I think he only played, that was his second cap. We've had Jermaine Jenas scored his only goal for England up against Switzerland, and for Roy Hodgson, a young Wayne Rooney scored for the first time as well. So I think team news is essential for England tonight. I think if he announces someone like Dan Burn to play tonight, England's going to be from set pieces where they're going to get goals. He's 6'7". He scored in the Carabao Cup final the weekend. He's having the week of his life. He'd probably be 50-1 to score the first goal. But someone like that, who's got an incentive to showcase his talent in a World Cup year, will probably be my angle for getting the first goal. Harry Kane will be a short price favourite, or he'll obviously be on penalties. But look for when the teams are announced tonight, someone there who is making his first start to impress a manager. The manager wants to give him some faith, and take him to score the first goal at a very, very nice price.
Well, he's 20-1, Dan Burn, to get the first goal. So there's one or two traders who are on your line of thinking there.
Well, someone, where there'd be a player there who's going to get a run out for England and an opportunity.
I think you're right.
So I think like go with it just seems to be that when a new manager takes over, he puts his faith in a couple of players and they rise to the occasion in the first match for that manager.
Yeah, he's around about 20-1. Same with Mars Lewis Skelly, who could get a debut as well.
Yeah.
You never know. But those are the two players that potentially might start tonight. It's a very, very difficult one. You mentioned Harry Kane there. He's minus 182 to score at any time, but he did play for Tuchel, of course, at Bayern Munich. So he's, there's a little bit of an angle there potentially. Look, England will win. I tend to think Nigel's spot on here. 2-0, 3-0, something like that. Let's see what some of our commenters are suggesting about this one. What have we got here? England 1-0 is 6-1. Win to nil and under 3.5 is minus 107.
That's the bet. Parlay them up. I love my same game parlays, but that would be the bet. Under 3.5, England to win to nil, around about even money. That's the kind of bet you want to have tonight. Yeah,
I mean, Joe said England to score in both halves or to win both halves. It's really difficult trying to squeeze out a little bit of value. I'm not quite sure about that. It might be near. I mean, Albania. Look, I mean, they weren't too bad. They took the lead against Italy, didn't they, at the European Championships. They had a poor Nations League. Their form really dropped off. Yeah, but I that's why I don't think it's going to be 4 or 5. I'd be surprised if it was something like that. What else we got here? England money line, team total over 2.5 goals from Effie. Yeah, I can sort of see that one. That's pushing it to that sort of 3-0 score line, isn't it? And one or two others talking. Well, someone's talking about Bromley here. Philip Brown, Bromley are going well. Could be in League One next year or two. Bromley, Nigel.
They've overachieved this year. I think if the market goes with them a strong next season and a big faith, they're very reliant on the manager. Very, very good manager who's going to be very sought after this year. Could be the manager of the year in League Two, and if he goes, then it could be problems for Bromley.
Paul says the lock for the basketball is St Mary's at -3. That is the lock. Ming says, how about a Cyprus if they're only a -175 home favourite against San Marino? Yeah, I did have a look at that. There's not a lot of value around tonight, I think, when it comes to some of the action, when it comes to the World Cup qualifiers. Duncan says it's coming home. They're around about 7-1 to win the World Cup. Nigel, taking that?
No. They'd be 10-1. They will. Euros, and when they got to the quarterfinals, they were 6-1. I'm like, just man.
They will qualify. I mean, they're the same as France and Brazil, pretty much. Argentina 10-1.
Have a look at the power rankings. The power rankings on the newsletter will tell you where England should be in the market.
I love that. I love the power rankings. What else we got here? Nish Nice says, controversial question. Why is it that England, who host the biggest league, are so horrible as a national football team? It's becoming mainly Premier League players that are not actually English.
It's coaching.
For you there, Nigel.
You look at how many English managers have won anything. The foreign managers have done well, and they brought a lot of players in from overseas. We've got the players, we've got the talent. We've never had, I think, we've never had a top-class manager. Roy Hodgson, Steve McLaren, Gareth Southgate. Where would they manage? Would they manage a top team in Europe? No, we have one now. We've got a Champions League winner. Now, that's the difference.
Money line for the England game, 99% of the money, 98% of the tickets on England. I can only imagine they're going to be in parlays because they're minus 1,100, I think, now. And when it comes to the overs,
the Albanian community in New York,
the overs and unders, 60% the money, 83% of the tickets on over. The general line is 3.5. Asian line is 3. I tend to think if, as Nigel says, you're Dutch 2-0 and 3-0, you're not going to be too far away. Let's just take a look at one or two of the other European games tonight. These are all World Cup qualifiers, and certainly Cyprus, San Marino, got no interest in that one. Word on Poland against Lithuania. One or two of our commenters suggesting that Poland might be a play here. They're minus 560. They are short. They've lost their last 2 and 4 of the last 5. The problem with a lot of the form for a lot of these teams, it's in Nations League, and Poland were in League A, and Lithuania, who they play, were in League C. So in terms of the form, Poland have been beaten by the likes of Portugal and Croatia. Lithuania lost all 6 of their League C games. So there's a massive difference there. One of our commentators suggested minus 1 1.75 on the Asian line. That's minus 137. Minus 2 is minus 103. That means it's a push if Poland win by 2-0. Tend to think that that's probably the way to go. 4 of Poland's 6 wins when they've been minus 500 or shorter have all gone to nil. Win to nil minus 148. Asian line minus 2 with a 2-0 push minus 103. Can't really argue with anything. When it comes to that. Lithuania are a poor side. And the other games tonight, again, there's not a lot of value. I looked at Malta, Finland. I thought that maybe Finland were a little bit gettable, but Malta's form has been poor. And Dora Latvia is not one I touched. A word on the Romania-Bosnia game here. Romania have been in great form recently. Mircea Lucescu is in charge. They've won their last 6. Now, again, they were in League C. Bosnia-Herzegovina were in League A, so 2 leagues apart here. Bosnia found it really difficult. They were in a group that also had Germany, Netherlands, and Hungary. They only picked up 2 points from their 6 matches. They conceded 17 times. So in terms of form, I can see why Romania, a short price favourite, say minus 125. And I can't put you off that. 2 players, though, to look at for shot on target. Razvan Marin, plus 155 to have 1 or more shots on target. He's got 9 goals for club and country this season. He plays in Serie A for Cagliari. His last 10 games for Romania, 9 shots on target, and he's had a shot on target in 7 of those games, including in the Euro 2024 finals where he cashed in 2 of 4. So against Bosnia, this is a level down, you would have thought. So I'd have a look at Marin at plus 155 over 0.5 shots on target. And the old boy, Edin Dzeko, who turned 39 just this week, but he's still very much first choice for Bosnia-Herzegovina. To just have 1 shot on target, he's minus 141. To have 2 or more, he's plus 295. He's only scored twice in his last 9 international games, but that was against Holland and against Germany. And he always plays 90 minutes. And obviously, this is a step down in class rather than those Nations League fixtures. And when it comes to shots on target for the national side, he's managed it in each of his last 6 appearances and more than 1 in the last 2. And those were against Germany and Hungary. So certainly in terms of playing against the better sides, he can get those shots on target. So against the likes of Romania, he might be worth a play. I'd split your stakes here. Minus 141 to have 1 or more and plus 295 to have 2 or more. So Marin and Dzeko, have a look at those 2 players, shots on target for that game between Romania and Bosnia-Herzegovina. In terms of where the money's gone for that one, 96% the money, 91% the tickets on Romania, and overs has been bet as well, 69% of the money and 83% of the tickets. What have we got from everyone on YouTube here? Nisha's Poland way too short for the win, but I'd hazard Poland minus 1.5 Asian. You'd be back in big minus money there. Nish. Then we've got a message from Cotta now, says Finland, Romania parlay. What else we got here? Hard to squeeze the value out of these matches. Oh, only the goal scorers interest me. Romania win 1.82 is pretty decent. And Effie, he's always good for a parlay or 2, likes Romania money line. Finland on the money line, team total over 1.5 goals. And Effie also talks about Uruguay, Argentina, which we will get to shortly, saying under 2.5 in that Uruguay, Argentina game. We are going to come back to the soccer. Nigel's got some thoughts on the Ecuador game, and we'll run through some prices for you as well when it comes to the 2 games in the World Cup qualifiers in South America. But let's turn our attention to the tennis. Obviously, Nigel will be hot-footing it to courtside very shortly indeed, or at least to the bar. Nigel, these are the latest futures prices here. Carlos Alcaraz at plus 185. Jack Draper had that great win at Indian Wells, 6-1. Djokovic 7. Medvedev 10. What or who has impressed you so far when it comes to the futures?
Well, a lot of them haven't played yet because obviously the seeds have just come in for this round at the moment. Obviously, if you do want to follow my adventures over in Miami, do so on the Instagram account at Because We Win. I'll be putting in-play bets on there. I go live during the matches, give some thoughts as well on the Instagram account. So make sure you go on the Instagram account. Nothing's really changed for me on the men's. I'm keen on Ben Shelton. I mean, we bet him at 35-1. He's now down to 14-1 without even winning a match. So
yeah, we're all on.
Yeah, we're all on. So that shows you that 35-1 was pretty much wrong there. Draper at $6 is ridiculously short for me. It's a tough ask for him. And I think the wind is going to be a big factor. So I'm worried about that. I do think the conditions are quick. The data from what we've seen on the rounds 1 and round 2 is quick, which will help Draper. It will help Shelton. It won't help Alcaraz. He has a huge support here, though. I mean, the Alcaraz matches are crazy. And I want to fade Djokovic, obviously, for obvious reasons, coming towards the end of his career. But I'm still very, very happy with our position on Ben Shelton. And I'm in the Shelton camp all the way through on this tournament. I think this is his tournament. I did see that he's in love, which can only go one way or the other. He's going out with Dennis Rodman's daughter.
He soccer player.
Dennis Rodman, the basketball, the soccer player, the basketball
she's
player.
soccer player,
yeah, he doesn't want to fall out with the old man, does he? So that could go one way or the other. But young love gets you quite excited in many ways, and I think I'm hoping for a sort of a bounce back here, and I'm going to I want Shelton to show that kind of form and now he's happy in his love life. So that would be my angle. Give it 3 weeks, and he'll probably be falling out of her, and he'll be out round 1. But for now, he's in love. So let's cheer him on. Ben Shelton for me.
Ben Shelton, we've punted already. What about today's matches, Nigel? We all know that Rud Kecmanovic is already underway. It's going with serve the moment, I think. So not too much to change in terms of the prices. What else we got?
Well, game bet match, Sean Calvert said to you, this tournament, you want to be betting overs in set number 1, blind, over 10.5. The stats here are incredible. The amount of tie breaks are incredible. All the matches starting now are going over. I think that is a really good strategy to do in every single one of these matches. But I'll give you some head-to-heads. I've got a couple of bets. I've got a few leans. Gael Monfils against Lehecka. Lehecka leads 1-0, but the two of them's form on hard court this season is pretty identical. Lehecka's 11-4. Monfils is 12-4. But Monfils is 39 years of age this year. He played a long match in the last round match against Marijan. Lehecka's coming in with hardly any form, lost his last 3. He got beat by Cam Norrie, Ugo and Bear. Not in great form at all. If Monfils is fit, I think he deserves a little bit of respect at plus 123 if he's fit. I do think the over games again in set 1 will be the way to go because, in set 1 you would have thought that he's not going to be tiring, but he is coming towards the end of his career and he's a player that isn't getting any younger like all of us. So a father time could be the problem there. And that's the reason why he's plus 123. He was plus 114. There has been a drift for him. Lehecka's been bet with the Bet Rivers betting, tennis betting public. But I do think the odds are a little bit closer than that. But I can understand why the money has been for Lehecka because of Gael Monfils' age. Rinky Hijikata against Novak Djokovic. That's the match that I'm going to go to today. I think the games are cheap here, 19.5. I think that's a cheap game price. I also think Djokovic at plus 5.5, Hijikata plus 5.5 is a small bet. Hijikata's not playing very well. They met once before. Djokovic won 6-3, 6-3. But this Novak Djokovic, to me, looks like he's on a farewell tour. He's brought in Andy Murray. His performances have been nowhere near the levels of Djokovic that we've seen in the past. I don't think, I just think 19.5 games is extremely, extremely cheap. I think Hijikata will give him a test. Novak Djokovic will probably come through and probably edge it, but that is a big price, really. 19.5. I think that's the wrong. If someone said to me what my total would be, I'd be 21. 20, probably a heavy under 21, but I think 19.5 is extremely cheap. I mean, this is a guy, he's only got 6'4", and you're in the money. But, the first set overs is the way to go again, but I think 19.5 is cheap. And the next match there, I think there's this is the one I think could potentially be a shock today. Fracisco Cerundolo against Alexandre and Muller. Muller leads 2-0 in the head-to-heads, and both of them have been recently. One of them was in 2020, this year, 2025 over in Rio. He won 7-5, 6-1, Muller. And he also won in 2024 in Auckland, 6-1, 6-1. So Muller has got the much better. And really, the stats are just completely in his favour here, the Frenchman. I think that's a big price there, Muller, plus 155. I like the handicap start as well. Cerundolo has a big support here in Miami. I watched him last year when he played Kachanov here, the Russian guy. And despite the home support and despite numerous chances, he never got over the line. And I think Muller here is playing a lot better. If you look at their 2025 hard court stats, Muller is a lot better. And on the win-loss record, Cerundolo is 5-3 and Muller is 8-4. And he's a player that I think Alexandre Muller's a player that is under the radar here. And I think at plus 155 in quick conditions with a lot of wind around, which Cerundolo won't like at all. This isn't his surface. I know he got beat last week in the quarterfinals of Indian Wells by Alcaraz, but that was his surface. Here at Miami, it's a quick turnaround, and I think Alexandre Muller at plus 155 could be the shock of the day on the men's draw over in Miami.
Those are the men's picks. We'll get to the women's in just a second. What have we got on YouTube here? Dean says happy with her cats at 125, 40-1. Now he takes Shelton out in round 3. Sorry, lads. Says Dean.
Talk.
Come on, Dino.
That match is a definite over 10.5 set number 1 tie breaks, whatever you. Well, you got to remember, you've got to remember that I'm going to be there, Dino. And I don't think you would have ever seen the most intimidating atmosphere when Seeley's had 6 stellars in it. He's going to be he doesn't know what's hit him. I'm going to be sitting with Dennis Rodman cheering on and Ben Shelton.
Dean says surely not even this version of Djokovic can lose to Hijikata. Effie says Rwanda draw double chance at home to Nigeria. That's one of the World Cup qualifiers you can watch on the stream. Novak noted for dropping a set often, and also talking about that plus 19.5 games overpriced easy bet. Dean says probably Djokovic, he can't be bothered with tournaments outside of the semis. And Ranjiv Singh says NBA bets of the day. Go on.
Djokovic going for his 100th tour title outside a major. He has got a motivation to win.
He's got that. Yeah.
But what he'll do is he'll find a little 250 where he can win and have 100 tournament wins. So he has got a motivation to win it. But this tournament here is I think it's a farewell tour to Miami for him.
Ranjiv says NBA bet of the day. Why over 4.5 assists? Green under 9.5. Is that rebounds? Duran for the Pistons double. I've no idea what any of that means, Ranjiv Singh, but hopefully the Betting Weekly community who are looking at the comments do. Alon says we never
knew nothing about Serbian basketball yesterday, and we cashed the winner.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
That's all we care about.
Yes, we did. I can't remember who goes that selection. Anyway, let's rattle through some women's thoughts for you, Nigel. Let's get the futures up here. Sabalenka won. Anything changed here from earlier this week? Anyone gone out? Anyone come in?
The one thing that's changed is our 3 Betting Weekly tips from myself and Roy joining aren't on that list anymore because they've gone out. That's the only thing that's changed. The only one we've got running for us is Clara Towson. She's 50-1. We've tipped her up at 70-1. Really, I mean, Sabalenka should, the court should be perfect for her, but her record here is pretty woeful. Iga Swiatek's record here is pretty poor as well. She only won it once. All eyes are going to be in Mira Andreeva. And the big mover is Coco Gauff, who had a big win against Kenning. Hasn't had the best of form, but she had a big win. So that's the big mover really on the women's draw. And Naomi Osaka has come through the week section Q3. She's into 28-1. I don't think she can go all the way and win it. But this is a tournament renowned for shot winners on the women's draw. Collins won it last year 100-1. Sloane Stephens has won it. Kvitova won it 2 years ago 100-1. I bet her at 100-1 when I saw her practicing that here, and her serve was amazing. But I think it's going to be overcast the next 3 or 4 days, and then it's nowhere near as hot as it has been in the 2 previous years, which I think will change the conditions slightly. And Iga Swiatek at plus $3 could be the one that may be worth a little bit of interest. But I've had enough of the women's draw this week. I've had 3 bets and they're all out, so we'll leave that alone.
What about the matches today? You're going to be watching any of the women later on? Any sort of value here? Got some short price favourites there.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline Garcia and Iga Swiatek was the first match. It was starting in about half an hour, so I probably won't get that. It'll be over in 25 minutes. I certainly won't be able to see that. That'll be double quick time. I mean, they played last week in Indian Wells, and Iga Swiatek won 6-2, 6-love. So that shows you what you are here. Total games here are 17.5, which when you consider they're 17.5 and it was 6-2, 6-love, it shows you what a great bet that Djokovic one is at 19.5, where just two difference between Iga Swiatek, who's got the best record of beating anyone with bagels, 6-love more than anybody else. So that's a pretty one. It's whether you want to play the under or the 17.5 or the over, really. But prior to that match last week, Caroline Garcia has given her a couple of tough tests. Next match here, Navarro, the Battle of the Emmas, the Navarro against Raducanu. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Emma Raducanu. she's had 7 coaches in the space of, what, 5 years. I mean, she has more coaches than Watford Football Club. I think the Villa fan told me the other day. I've offered my services to her to coach her. I said, it's there for you. I might bump into her. I might give her an opportunity. But she's, to me, a player that I just think is always overrated by the betting public. She's up against Navarro, who is a real tough competitor. Probably one of the toughest competitors in the women's game. She never knows when she's beat against probably one of the flakiest. When things don't go well for Emma Ricardo, she down tools. She's got beaten the last 6 matches. She's only won 2 of her last 8 matches. And in her 6 defeats, she's lost every one in straight sets. She gives up. And I think Navarro here to win 2 sets to love. It's plus 112 with Bet Rivers. I like that. Navarro's playing well. She's an American player. She's going to have a good lot of support. She's gritty. She's tenacious. She's everything that Emma Raducanu isn't. And I think Navarro will win that fairly comfortably. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Navarro. And the next one is where we have the difference of opinion on the message we had earlier. Kessler, McCartney, the police, if they're coming for me. We've got McCartney Kessler up against Linda Noskova. I'm going to go with Kessler here at plus 132. So I've got a different opinion from Noskova. They've met once before, which was in 2024, which is a real close match. Noskova won in 3 close sets. But since then, they're both improved. But McCartney Kessler has been excellent this year. When you look at her hard-court stats, it's fantastic. She's 16-7 compared to Noskova's 9-7. Obviously, she hasn't played at the top level. She's been winning, playing a little less tournaments than Noskova. Noskova playing at a much higher level. But she went to college here in Florida, and she knows Miami quite well. She'll know the conditions. She's got the benefit of that, the fact that she's won a match already, which I think is a huge benefit, especially in a match like this. She's come through a first-round match, playing a girl who's cold, who's come straight in from Indian Wells. She's completely different conditions. And in Indian Wells, Linda Noskova was absolutely awful. I know it wasn't ideal for her. She'll be more suited here, but I think McCartney Kessler is the wrong price. I think plus 132 is too big. I'd probably make her about plus 110. So there's a slight edge for me on McCartney Kessler here at the price of plus 132. So I'm betting that today. I've bet Navarro to win 2-0. I've bet Kessler to win their match. There are only 2 bets on the women's draw. And in the final match, Belinda Bencic against Svitolina. I mean, these are 2 women who've just come back on the tour after giving birth, baby breaks. Bencic has been exceptional. She's won a tournament this year. Svitolina is someone you can never, ever rule out. She's so determined. She's gritty. She fights for every point. It looks there to me it's going to be a long battle. To show you how the first time these two played was in 2014. So the longevity of the two, the longest serving tennis players on the women's tour. And I think that's going to be a real tough one. So I'm going to go with over 2.5 games there. I was just reading about Adam's comment there. I know the conditions will suit Noskova, but Kessler, collegiate in Miami, she's going to have a big fan base. She played really well in round 1. Her stats were exceptional, and I think that the price is wrong. I'm not saying that Noskova won't win, but this is all about a value, and I don't think Noskova is any value at the prices. I would give Kessler about a 45% chance of winning today. Bet Rivers are giving her a 36% chance of winning today. I think that's a 9% edge in our favour, and I'm going to take Kessler on the money line.
2 things here. First of all, Kecmanovic has broken route and leads 4-3, and he's serving to go 5-3. That was the tip we gave right.
Minus $2. Minus $2. That's good.
There you go. Good. So if you backed him at plus 120, as Nigel said right at the top of the show, you can do what you want. You can trade out whatever. And Lewis says, "What about?"
I'm telling me all that hedging for gardeners. Don't be a moron. Put more on. Listen,
I'm just saying, if you want to, people have different strategies. It says, "What am I doing with my hands?" People have different strategies. And Lewis says, "What about the Bardosa game?" Looked at that.
Well, to be fair, after a few stellars, me and Josh might go and hunt Bardosa out, but I haven't really looked at the match. Really, I just basically went through the matches that I looked at the most competitive. I looked at the trends and I started to some of them I just sort of cast aside. And unfortunately, Bardosa was one of the matches I didn't really have a strong view on.
Look, what we can tell you is that Nigel's got an Uber waiting. So we're going to rattle through the South American quality. Have you got an Uber waiting?
Yes, an Uber yacht to take me back by the Caribbean back to Southampton. Because it's terrible thing at Heathrow Airport.
Very quickly on the Ecuador, Venezuela and Uruguay, Argentina games here. Everyone likes Ecuador. They're 5th in World Cup qualifying. Venezuela are 8th here. And remember, top 6 qualify. The 7th goes into a playoff here. Ecuador have won the last 2. I think we're in agreement here, Nigel, that Ecuador are not a player minus 286, but maybe sort of unders or both teams to score coupled with it. What's your play in Ecuador, Venezuela?
I mean, it's Ecuador. The whole side is built on their defensive strength. Casiado in that midfield. They've got players from Bayer Leverkusen, Brighton in defence. They've got young players at Barcelona as well. They've got top players all around the world in those defensive areas. Where they're short is their attacking lineup. They rely so much on Valencia, didn't they, to score their goals. 35 goals in 74 internationals for the Ecuadorian striker. So it is no surprise you want to be on unders. And I'm not just saying that because I'm coming on here and it's an unders, and but everything here points to an under 2.5 goal game. It's minus 132. Ecuador at home very rarely get beaten. They very rarely score many goals. They're always 1-0, 2-0, 0-0, 0-0s as well. So, Ecuador minus 286 on the money line with Bet Rivers, Venezuela plus 950, the ties plus 375 to boost up that minus 286. I think the bet here is Ecuador to win to nil at minus 124.
Yeah, like that one. There's also a play from Rory Barlow, incidentally, in the Betting Weekly newsletter from that particular game. Yeah, I think Ecuador to nil, Ecuador under, something like that. And Uruguay, Argentina. Stephen says Argentina first half under is a play. No Messi for Argentina. Uruguay are now favourites. They weren't initially, but as soon as that news that Lionel Messi wasn't going to play for this game, or indeed the next game against Brazil, then the flip-flopping prices here. Uruguay plus 160, Argentina plus 220. Any thoughts on this one, Nigel? We have got a Will White play on the newsletter on this one. What are your thoughts?
What did Will go for? I can't remember. What did he say?
I'm not to the peak. Subscribe to the newsletter.
Yeah, there's about 15 tips. You can give him one. What did he say?
Subscribe to the newsletter. Do you want me to tell you?
I can't even remember. I'm thousands of miles away. Okay. Well, the first thing
Uruguay tie no bet.
Okay. Well, the first thing that you've got to remember, look at the goal line under 1.5. That shows you exactly what the game that Bet Rivers are expecting on 1.5 goal, 2 goals on the Asian line. The other thing you've got to draw your attention to is the price on the draw. It was plus 185, plus 190. And people look at the draw prices when they're under 2-1 and think to themselves, well, it's too short. But I tell you what, I'd like to know the data. If anyone can find it out, I would be very confident that when we have these international matches where people expect the draw to happen, when it's under 2-1, I reckon if you bet them, you make a good profit. I think the draws that are plus 175, plus 165 usually end in a draw. So I like the draw here. There's another couple of reasons why. I was looking for a Darwin Núñez shot off target market. But there wasn't that on Bet Rivers. I think it'd be like minus $5.
Under a half.
So the line is 7.5 under shots off target. Uruguay under Bielsa were incredible at the start of the campaign, and they've only won one in their last 6. Their form has dropped off a little bit, but without Messi, they've got a perfect opportunity. The other thing that was interesting for me is Bielsa obviously has managed Argentina. He's an Argentinian coach. He's a legend over here in the Premier League for Leeds fans. But he's managed this will be his 4th time that he's managed against Argentina. He's never lost against Argentina. When you consider they're the world champions, I found that quite interesting. Twice against Chile, he won and he drew. And he won over in Argentina with his Uruguay side here. So I think there's a personal thing for him as well, that he doesn't want to lose against Argentina. I still think if you read the history when he left Argentina, he felt a bit aggrieved by that when he left. So I'm going to go for the draw. I think plus 185 goes in line really with what we're all saying. Uruguay draw no bet, but it's a push. He's obviously wants to take on Argentina for that reason. Without Messi, he's coming to the edge of his career, but he's still the GOAT in my opinion. And I just think that that draw price at plus 190 now may appear too low, but given the fact that it's and also a draws are nothing to play for these two teams.
Pretty much not. Yeah, they're both going to qualify.
They're both going to be in the World Cup. It's a non-event really, and I just think they might. I think it'll be a fiery one, but the Bielsa factor, the fact he doesn't want to, never loses against Argentina. I know it's a small sample, but he never loses, and he don't want to lose. So I'm going to go for the draw plus 185.
Stephen says under half a goal in the first half is plus 120. What about 0-0? Any chance? Did you take the detector with you to Miami?
Listen, they've got a new version over here, which I've got to get through customs. But the thing is, me and the 0-0 detector haven't been seeing eye to eye. We're like Ben Shelton and his girlfriend. At the beginning, it was love. You know, I used to sleep with the 0-0 detector. I used to take it everywhere I went, every trip I went on the tennis. Now we're not talking anymore at the moment. Me and the 0-0 detector, we're done. We're finished.
Plus 510 for 0-0. Yeah, I think it might be 1-1. I'd take the draw here. Certainly play the unders for that game. That's Uruguay versus Argentina. Most of the money's on Argentina, incidentally, even though they are second favourite. 67% of the money, 74% of the tickets. We promised Nigel we'd keep him fairly short today in terms of time, but we are running to around about 10 minutes until you're due on court. Josh, I hope you've got the beers ready for Nigel.
Well, he can't get in without my arm. I've got his ticket, so But just before we go, Kekmanovic is a set point on Casper Ruud's serve. It's advantage Kekmanovic. He's currently minus 265 with Bet Rivers. Don't listen to Roebuck. Hedging's for
didn't say. I'm just saying.
He's just taken the first set. Kekmanovic is now down to minus 305. That'll do for me. That'll be a nice remember the Instagram. Go across the Instagram. There'll be loads of stuff. I'm going to go live in play. I'm going to give you some bets. We're going to cheer on. We're going to have some fun as well. So get across to the Instagram account at Because We Win. And if you follow us, I'll make sure you follow back as well. So we'll be on there.
Brilliant stuff. What's the best bet? Tennis best bet?
I've got Kekmanovic, which was my best. I'm going to tell you now it's my best bet. Navarro to win 2-0. Kessler plus 132. Difference of opinion here. Ecuador to win 2-0. Uruguay, Argentina plus 185. And if you can get a big price, a little bit of interest, if he starts, we'll have a little bit of pizza money on Dan Burn to score the first goal to cap a brilliant week for the Newcastle centre-back.
Brilliant stuff. Nigel, thanks for your company. Enjoy the tennis today. Hopefully you will be back in Blighty sometime soon. Heathrow still, you could be there for some time. We might see you on Cunard or whatever it is, the Royal Caribbean across.
I'll be on the boat.
Great stuff. Good luck to everyone who's having a bet tonight. Make sure you sign up to the Betting Weekly newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com if you want to sign up for that. Plenty more content from Nigel over the course of the weekend. And of course, we'll have the live show back for you on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern. From all of us for now, it's goodbye.